Hi, welcome back everybody. This is Paul with Something Out Nick Outdoors. Today I'm going to do a review of the Kubota MX6000, which we got end of June, early July I think it was. It's got about 120 hours on it, and we'll take a look at it here. But first I want to show you other tractors where I started from and why this one's so different. Alright, this is the first tractor I've had. This is a Ford 601 Workmaster, model 641. This used to be a golf course tractor for a course over in Utica, New York. My father bought it from a dealer in the area. I want to say mid-90s, early 90s. Probably got a gazillion hours on it if it was a mowing tractor. It's a lot of time. And it needs a top end rebuild. Otherwise, it works pretty good. But as you can see, open station. It's a 1960. I used this for many years for plowing snow. That's been a good tractor. They don't make them like this anymore. All right, now on to the next tractor. And this is the second tractor, a little Massey Ferguson 1428V hydrostatic. It's been a great little tractor. It's only 28 horsepower, but it's done a heck of a job. This used to be my main snowblowing tractor up until last year, or up until this year actually. And it's been very dependable. It's actually an Izeki underneath the Massey Ferguson logos. And as you can see, open station as well. Okay, here's the other tractor. You've seen this a lot. Well, you've seen the room a lot too. The tractor is a New Holland TC35DA. This is the one we've used mostly recently. It's in its winter house here in the Shelter Logic. That's why the green tinge for everything. We bought this back in 2017 or 18, I believe. And when we bought it, it had about 800 and some odd hours on it, and now it's up to, that probably won't come through, 2,280. So we put a lot of hours in this one. It's a hydrostatic, 2-range. Been a very dependable tractor. Open station as well. If I remember right, to 2005. Okay, and our most recent tractor besides the Kubota is this old Ford 5000. It's a 1968 open station. If I remember right, it's about 69, 70 horsepower when it's running. We've had issues with this one. I think we've had it for about 3 or 4 years now, and I'll probably put about 10 hours on it. Needs some power steering work as well as some fuel and carburetor work. But it is still a solid built tractor. Just needs some attention. So that's going to bring us over to the Kubota. We just picked this up, I think end of July or maybe the end of June. As I mentioned, about 119 hours on it. I did the first service back in August, I believe it was, as a 50-hour service. Check the filter here. Yep, 54 and a half hours, August 20th. Then entailed the engine oil and the hydro filters, which are one over here and one on the opposite side. That went well, no problems. Lost a little bit of hydro fluid, maybe a half gallon or so. One other thing I did find doing that service, I checked the front axle, and the front axle was about a quart low on fluid, so I topped that off. This is the first one I've had with a cab model, heat and air. It's my excuse to get out of the winter snowblowing. You can see I got the snowblower on it now. So far, a little over 119, 120 hours. It's been good. Let's see, I guess we'll start from the front. Work backwards here. It's got the heavy-duty ground back bucket with cutting edge. And of course the Bobcat skid steer quick attach. I found this to be not as forgiving as the New Holland. You have to get everything lined up just perfectly for it to go on well. Otherwise you got to mess with it a little bit, but it may break in over time too. It just seems a little tighter, a little more precise. We do have the front remotes, what do you call them? Third function valves installed for a future grapple, hopefully. And let's see. I better consult my list. Probably the biggest choice we had with the tractor is not the cab, because obviously I wanted a cab for snowblowing in the winter, is the tires. And I got a little cheat sheet here. I got to make sure I get all my points in here. The tires are a newer R14Ts, the front and the rear. They're a hybrid between what I call the industrial and the ag tires, or R1 versus R4 tires. So far, traction wise, they're good. Closer to the industrial than the ag. Ride wise, they're pretty rough. The rear tires came from the dealer. I had them put fluid in the tires, and the air pressure was around 27, 28 psi. Over time, I reduced it little by little. I think I'm down to about 15 pounds of pressure in there now. The manual calls for 23. That's still way too rough. Causes issue with control too. Going over little rocks and bumps and things, it throws you off. It needs a little bit of squish in there. So I'm down to about 15 now, and that was before it got cold out. So I'll probably leave it at 15 for the winter and see how it does, because the pressure is going to decrease as the temperature goes down. So that's going to be an experiment in progress. The front tires are not as, I don't know what you want to call it. It's probably the number of plies in them, I imagine, is not as high as the industrial tires, the R4s. And they tend to squish under load. So if I get a log out in the forks, it tends to squish a little bit. But traction wise, they're okay. Had a little issue in the snow. They're not as good in the snow as the ag tires, obviously. And you come around back here, this space here is about 2.5 inches, 2 3/4 inches between the tire and the, I guess that'd be the cab mount. And I don't know if it comes through on camera or not, but there's a cover here running down alongside. Maybe I can get over here better. And it has some wires and looks like a drain tube in there. So I'm a little nervous about putting chains on. Thinking the chains are going to be running in this area and hitting against that. So this is going to be the first winter that I go without tire chains for snowblowing. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully these tires will deal with the snow, because our driveway is on a pretty good slope going up. One of my concerns with this tractor was the regen cycle that they do for burning off diesel particulates. And it's something that happens every so often. The tractor will rev up, or it'll tell you to rev it up to around 2,500 RPMs. And it does that for about 10 minutes or so to burn off any crud in the engine and the filters, clean out the filter. It was no big deal. First time I was like, oh my God, what's going on? But I just gotta hit the button and raise the revs up to, I think it was about 2,300 is where it stopped, where the button stopped flashing. And it worked fine. I was able to continue to work with it while I was going through the regen. The only issue was I was using the skidding winch on the back of it, and that's PTO driven. And at the time of starting the regen, the PTO was off. And at 2,300 RPMs, I didn't think it was a good idea to turn the PTO on. So I just let it sit instead. Was able to move around and move some logs around, but so I had to adjust plans a little bit. Wasn't able to continue doing what I was doing, but was able to do other things. Okay, we gotta wrap this up, outside stuff up, so I can go in the cab where it's warm. The 3-point hitch I have an issue with. The top link is a little weird. Down here where it attaches to the implement, it's category 2. Up at the top there, that's a category 1. And you can see with the snowblower, the top link is threaded out pretty far. And some other implements, it gets even farther. It starts making nervous, thinking it's not threaded in enough. So far, I haven't had any issues, but I tried to take the category 2 top point off the old Ford 5000 that you saw earlier, and found out it won't fit because this space here, this bracket is not wide enough. I could grind down that link, but didn't really want to. And I searched for other longer links, asked Kubota, the dealer, if they had them, and the answer is no. And Tractor Supply has replacement ones, but none that are longer. So if anyone knows of a longer category 1, 2 link, please leave a comment down below. Oh, we're on back here. One other thing. See if I can get it out. Okay. This pin, which holds the sway bar, that keeps the 3-point hitch from swaying back and forth too much, is normally held in with a little clip. Let me go over here. You can probably see it right underneath there. There's a little, I call it a hairpin clip, that goes through to hold it in place. But when you're out in the field making adjustments, that clip tends to get lost. Luckily so far gravity has held it in there. Otherwise, from the back end of the tractor, I haven't had any other problems. Actually, one other thing. Category 2, most of my attachments are Category 1. So you have to use these little sleeves. I think you can see it in there. There's a little adapter in there that goes from Category 1, which is what the pin is, to Category 2, which is what the hitch is here. And those can be a handful. Tend to drop them and get lost, so buy extras. Okay, we're in the cab. I got my handy dandy list here. Let's see. A lot of people complain about the filler for the diesel fuel. It's on top of the hood, and it is, I definitely agree, a pain in the butt. What I do with I use 5-gallon cans, and what I do is stand on the front tire and fill it up from there with a big metal funnel. It can be a hassle, and it's not as easy as it used to be getting up onto a tire with a 5-gallon can in my hand. Let's see, I think you've seen the dash earlier, the regen light. Let's see, the 4-ways, which I do use on the road. I wish they'd give you an option to turn the clicking off. It gets annoying after a while. But other than that, everything on the dash just works fine. Over here we have the right-hand door, which does open. And to flick that back, it does open from the inside. It has no ability from the outside to open it. And I think the reason is, you can see on my leg here and the steering wheel and the control for the loader here, there's not much room to get through there. I've tried it a couple times, and it's almost impossible to do it without bumping this, and all of a sudden your bucket drops and you think, what's going on? But so it's there if you need it, but I would definitely recommend having the loader all the way down or the engine off before you do. You can lock out the loader. It has a little tab. Let's see, can I get you? Look at this guy. You can pull it in or push it out, and that locks the loader. But of course, I never remember to use it. Let's see, what other features of the cab? We got an auxiliary power here to charge up your cell phone or whatever, and it has a cell phone holder. Doesn't come with a cell phone. The PTO is over here in a sort of a weird place, but I mean, it works fine onto the right. Turn it on and use a snowblower fine. If you are using the, say the chipper, you turn it on here, and as soon as you try to get out of the seat, the engine's going to shut off. You have to press and hold this button here for, I don't know, it's 3 or 5 seconds. You got to hold it for, then it turns on, and then you can get off the seat and go out and do what you're going to do out. It's a safety feature. Can be a little hassle because I usually forget for the first time or two. Let's see, while we're up here in front, let me scoot around a little bit. Down here is the hydro pedal. If I can get in there a little better. So reverse and forward. It's a very weird shape. It's fine going forward. Going backwards is a little more interesting. I have found that the pedals on the New Holland, which has a left and right pedal up here for forward and reverse, are much more friendly. This becomes a real hassle, excuse me, when you're turned around. Let's see if I can do that. I can still get you in the camera. And so I'm turned around somewhat sideways to use the snowblower, and trying to keep your foot on there on that reverse is pretty difficult. So that's one thing that I would change if I could. Here's the loader control. You saw that a minute ago, but I didn't say much about it. Oh, excuse me, just dropped my paper. Okay, so the loader control, it's got the third function buttons on the front. We haven't used yet, but hopefully soon. And it works good. It's a little far forward for me. I'd prefer it back here more. And I would also increase the room through here to get out to the right hand side. But works well. It's responsive. It's fast. It's a lot faster than the New Holland in terms of picking up and curling the bucket and so forth. It's a lot faster. I have no issues with it other than I'd want it back here a little bit farther. Let's see, tilt steering wheel works good. Little pedal down here, press, and comes in handy getting in and out. It can be a little difficult getting in and out of this. I'm 6'2", and it's a little awkward at times. Ignore that. That's just the camera tripod. Let's see. So on the left side of the seat, we have the 3 ranges as well as cruise control, and this knob down here is 4-wheel drive and differential lock over there. One of my problems with tractors in general, and this one's no different, is the toolbox, or lack of a sufficient toolbox. This one is tall, goes way down there to the bottom, somewhat triangular shaped. And you can see, what do I got in there? Screw wrench, tape measure, hitch pins, a bunch of connectors, pair of pliers. And of course what you want is going to be way down here in the bottom. At least that's how it seems like it to me. So I'm searching for a solution for toolbox and chainsaw storage and just storage in general. To the rear, we have the wiper and the defroster and the rear window, which is, in my opinion, great. Keeping me out of the snow and all the snow from the snowblower coming back at me. I almost always have it in this position, cracked open, I don't know, 2 inches or so. Then it locks in there. You can open it all the way. Be careful when you do that, depending on what you have on the back, because you may slam into the back of your implement. But even in the winter, even snow blowing, I usually have it cracked just to keep airflow. Let's see here. Okay, back to the front of the tractor. I just consulted my list to see what I'm supposed to talk about here. So you're seeing it from my vantage point. You're about even with my nose at the moment. There I am. And it is difficult to see, especially with the forks, where your forks are going. So you have to do a little bit by feel, and you can, stand up a little bit, but as soon as you do that and touch the forward reverse pedal, the tractor's going to die on you. It's just another one of their safety features. I know many people disconnect the seat switch, and well, mine's still connected, but I don't know for how long. Anybody from Kubota's watching, it'll always be connected. Okay, we're gonna get out for a minute here. There we go. I'm going to the back end. There's one thing I forgot. Back here, and that is, there's no way to adjust the 3-point hitch from back here, height-wise. On the old tractors, I was able to reach over and down into the lever to grab it and to pull back around the fender. Here you can't do it because you got the cab, obviously, and no latch to get in that way. So it's a little bit of a hassle without having that control that other tractors have on the back for lifting and lowering the 3-point hitch. Because as soon as you're trying to attach up an implement and you're just a little bit off, then you gotta go back into the cab and climb up in, adjust the 3-point hitch. You can't really see it too well from here. See if you did a good job. So you gotta go back out, check it, and maybe come back in and do it another time or two before it finally works out right. But once it's on, and maybe a quick hitch would be the solution for that. One other thing to consider, it's hard to find a tractor nowadays that doesn't have a turbo, and they can be a little bit of a hassle. I'm so used to be able to getting on and off, starting, stopping. I do a lot of work up in the woods, pulling logs out and cutting trees, and you don't want to always have the tractor sitting there idling. With the turbos, you have to let them cool about 3 to 5 minutes at idle before you're supposed to shut them off. And yeah, I mean, you get used to it, I suppose, but after a while it gets tiring having it sit there for 3 minutes or 5 minutes idling. I do it, but grudgingly. It's when I'm working up to the woods, I like to have the tractor off and have it quiet once in a while too. So it's either you got to do something and then come back and turn the tractor off, or just let the tractor idle. So the turbo is a little bit of a hassle, but I guess it's worth it for the extra power. More power. Okay, close that up for a moment. Close it nice and solidly. One thing I thought with the cab, and remember this is my first cab tractor, I figured this would be fine in the summer, but air conditioning is not a luxury in these. It's a necessity. I even, the other day, it was about 50 or so out a couple weeks ago, maybe 50, 55. And after a couple minutes in there, you gotta turn the air on. It's like a little greenhouse, all this glass, and any bit of sun goes in there. Probably engine from the tractor itself too, or heat from the engine of the tractor itself comes in as well. You fry in there in the summer without air conditioning. Even at 50, 55 degrees, you turn it on after a while. So far the heat in it has been great in the wintertime. No complaints there. Pumps out the heat, keeps all the glass clear. You can turn the vents around in there just like in a car to direct air to keep them from fogging up. Probably, I haven't told you my biggest issue with this tractor yet. Is all back here. This tractor is very light in the back. Now when I got the tractor, I got it filled with, the rear tires are filled with fluid. I can't remember if it was 50 or 55 gallons on each side. Of course, it's got calcium in it too for the winter time up here. And that's usually enough weight to do, many jobs. But with this, you definitely need weight in the back. I usually at least have the skidding winch on the back, but you want something with weight, especially if you're, moving logs around. And you can see we got a lot of logs to move around. You need weight on the back, otherwise they get very light, and I may end up putting extra wheel weights. I don't have any wheel weights now, it's just the fluid in the tires. So you can bolt in extra weights on each side to increase the weight on the rear end of the tractor. I think I'll be doing that soon. They're expensive. I can't remember, I think around $1,000 for a set of them. But I don't like having an implement on all the time. They get in the way, especially when I'm up in the woods. The skidding winch is fine because that's up close here. That doesn't stick way out like a snowblower or a brush hog over there would. I don't know if you can see those, but brush hog over there, brush hogs stick way out. So I'm gonna be searching for a solution that is heavy but doesn't stick way out and get in the way. And I don't want to just put like a concrete drum back there, which a lot of people do. Because if I have something on the back, I like to be useful. Something I could use, a back blade, a land plane, something like that. That's why I like a skidding winch, because I can always use a skidding winch for something. But the skidding winch isn't quite heavy enough either. I mean, it does the job, but this tractor definitely needs weight. Weight is definitely an issue. I plan on doing something about it. Overall, I like it. I can't complain. One problem with the weight on the back end is not going to kill my opinion of it. Now, these are only my thoughts on this tractor. I've only put 120 hours on it. I can't consider it a review. I'm no expert on it. Just a user, so to speak. I like it. I'd buy it again. The tire choice, I don't know. I think I'd prefer ag tires. Now, the industrials that we have on the New Holland do work good for moving logs around, but they're horrible in the snow. I wouldn't be able to use that tractor for snow blowing with our hill. On a flat, maybe. But the Kubota is a good tractor. I don't have any complaints besides the weight and some little minor things, which are somewhat more what I'm used to rather than if there's a problem or an issue. And you get used to something and it's hard to change. But it's been a good tractor so far. I hope to put many more hours on it, and hopefully there won't be any major issues. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it, and the tractor too, as well as the video. And please like and subscribe and share and all that other good stuff, and we'll see you next time.